A life lived true to the words. An exclusive interview with Donald Keene. Eriko Arita, staff writer. 2008 was the millennial anniversary of The Tale of Genji, regarded as the world's first full-length novel. When did you first discover it?
I first saw the book on sale in 1940, when I was 18 years old. I had never heard of The Tale of Genji before that. I thought that I had received a very good education, but in fact, it was an education entirely of the Western world. And there was no reference to Japanese literature at any point in my life. I bought the book initially, not because I was extremely interested in The Tale of Genji, but because it was very inexpensive. 2 volumes cost something like 50 cents or less. Anyway, I didn't expect very much from it, but I was curious, and I started to read it, and I became quite captive of the novel.
Why do you think that a novel written in Japan in the 11th century made such an impression on you?
In part, it was in reaction to the world around me at that time. 1940 was a very bad year for humanity. In that year, the German armies overran Norway, Denmark, Holland, Belgium, and most of France. And later on in the same year, in September, the nightly bombing of London began. And although I was safe from that in New York, I kept thinking that perhaps the Germans would win in Europe and then they will cross over the Atlantic to the United States. I was extremely depressed. I hated to read the newspapers because they were all really of new German conquest. And it was as a relief from the newspapers, from the world that was around me, that I turned to The Tale of Genji, and it moved me very greatly, not only because of its interesting story and the interesting characters, but because it seemed so civilized as compared to the world I was actually living in.
The novel, which runs to more than 1,000 pages in its English translations, recounts many stories about Genji, a son of an emperor, and the women in his life. Which episode impressed you most?
One is the story of Yugao. She is a rather delicate a person in retreat from the world, not very positive. But Genji finds her in an unlikely place, the kind of street where he normally never went. And he carries her off to another place where she dies of fright, not knowing who he was. His face was concealed. It's a fascinating story and very, very moving in the depiction of this woman. She is baffled. Why does this marvelous man look at me? I'm nobody at all. And yet she is a very considerable person.